I don't want to be online. I don't have friends. Alrighty.
After the episode's...
Well, apparently that's how the episode has started.
Is that already started?
Guess what I did. It shouldn't be that hard to guess given the given what happened last time.
Given that you're shirtless, I don't know.
That's technically a shirt. This I have had no time to buy the proper clothes, so this is the best I can do for now. It doesn't. Well, yeah. Eventually, I have literally. This is the beginning of the game, and they didn't have the same set stuff available as from the second one, so I had to create the character all over again. But I figured since I did it last time, and I had a good time with it. Actually, it fit surprisingly well.
Are you talking about the fact that you look like powder?
Well, Jinx, yes, that's what I did. Okay, do you remember the Saints Row 2 video at all?
Yes, of course.
Do you?
I'm just saying.
If you watch to the end of it, you'll realize... Well, yeah. Is it not as obvious as it was last time? Admittedly, the outfit's not as good yet, but that's because I haven't... Okay, yes, let me out. Literally, this was just like, track shorts and whatever, tube top or whatever. I have not, because the other time I had already been playing the game for a while. Literally, I just started this recently. Because it was, did I get this for free or was it just on sale? I don't know. This is the third one. Mm-hmm. Oh, hi.
The mechanics any different on this one? Or?
No. Although, okay, is this not the door to the outside? Open door. Thank you. The mechanics are basically the exact same, but so far the story is a little different because, essentially the game, it's a bit of a shark jumping type scenario. Because essentially the plot of the second game was, we go from scrappy street gang to basically mob bosses of the city. And now, hey, there's crime happening that I'm not involved in.
Or maybe you are.
Maybe I'm about to be.
Hey,
but
boss, here.
basically, the second game begins with... What? What? Okay, this is new. Okay. I pressed the button. It didn't let me answer it. I waited too long. Well, I wasn't going to pay the ransom anyways. But basically, the plot of this one is like, yeah, you're already basically the greatest gang ever, and everyone knows about the story, and we've basically sold out. Because, yeah, yeah. Let's just prove a point. So, in the first game, I had to do...
Tell me that I need to stay on this side of the road. You might notice I'm rumbling along in the grass.
In the first game, I had to work quite hard to get a hold of, super great technology like this, but we literally have custom painted Saints Row themed attack vehicles.
Walking up, oh, dear.
So basically, the one thing I'm curious about...
This has become Just Cause.
Essentially, but I'm not sure exactly whether or not I'm going to... Again, I've only just started, but I'm not sure that this has got the same, appeal. I liked the element of building up a street gang until you're the top dog. It's kind of fun. There's, this doesn't feel earned considering I just went to the garage and asked for it.
Yeah, but there are parts of Just Cause that
there you go.
very just fun.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why the sense of humor of the game is still very much the same. So, at least they haven't, they've kept that. But I'm not sure that I have as...
Picturing Jinx just rolling along in a tank.
Well, I mean, that's, if anything, that only adds to the effect. But what do you think? You're on the wrong side of the road, pal. Do you think that's going to stop me? But yeah, I don't actually know what the story of this is going to be because I just started it. It seems basically like, the plot contrivance has put us in a different city that's not the one we are in control of. That
guy doesn't care.
That dude is so... Oh, no, he cares now.
Okay, I was about to say, he was just walking back to his truck like, yeah, another day in the office.
Well, I mean, that's sort of the joke is at this point, the Saints are so well known that like this would basically people be like, oh, yep, part of a hostage crisis again. I wonder who it's going to be this time. So I don't. Yeah. Admittedly, the funny thing about it is, from what I understand, the fourth game goes even further with it, where you're literally the president. Like you've basically, it's sort of the logical conclusion. Like, okay, the first game you take over one city, the second game you take over another city. The logical conclusion is, and eventually you just take over the whole country. What?
Is that? Oop.
Hello, officers. Would you like to rethink your position? I'll give you 3 seconds to get back in the car so you can say goodnight to your kids tonight. Oh, too late. Oh, did he live? He can tell the message. Oh, okay. The tank controls are weird. So, I don't know. The phrase jump the shark comes to mind, and I'm not sure that it's a bad thing inherently. Not sure that I'm not a threat to you, pal. Just go about your life.
Yeah. I don't hate these kind of I'm just doing things simply because, but the problem is they're short-lived.
Yeah. I mean, the second game, I think, there's a reason it still holds sort of the reputation, because it's replayable when you've got that kind of a motivation. What? Okay, pal. I don't know what you thought was going to happen. What?
Maybe if I bow to them.
Stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll.
Tuck and roll, Pogo.
Okay. This won't help. There you go. I got your car that time, not you. Well, I think I got them anyways. So, yeah. Like, I don't know that just how replayable is Just Cause. Because
that one,
basically one wacky killing spree is the same as the next. If there's
it is,
no
but that
arc.
one is far more reward based. So it's a little bit like, go do this thing, yay, you did it, kind of a thing. But it's more.
I like how I haven't actually caused all this chaos. Like I've shot what
it's
2,
less
3
linear
cars?
and more just purely.
The rest of these
goal-based.
explosions aren't me. So
It's not as straight ahead as far as a particular story.
Yeah, but again, it's like how much? Whoop. Oh, okay. See, how could there even be other gangs? Okay, so apparently I'm fighting gang members. But like, what other gangs could there be when I rock up in one of these? It seems like I'm above gang warfare at this point. I'm into actual warfare. Bring on the National Guard. Okay, so I win. So that's what I'm saying, is that it feels just a little bit cheaper now. Oh, hello. I won't even.
You're a massive roid machine at this point.
Excuse me. Excuse me. No. So I'm wondering what they will do to make me motivated to keep this.
Yeah, the only thing that you would be able to do is offset.
Unless they pull the standard like, but now you've lost all your progress because of some plot contrivance, which isn't. That's sort of what they've done, because it's like, oh, this is a different city now, so I don't. But I've still got tanks available to me, so I can't be that underpowered. So I don't know.
My thought is the best route for them would be, you've got all this reputation and this, wealth and all this resource at your disposal for the sake of your own ends, and then good on the opposite side will rise up against it and just have there be a degree of you're trucking through the neighborhood thinking you're on top of the world, and all of a sudden the police come with their SWAT tank and it's 3 times the size, and it's like, hey, guess what, buddy?
Yeah, but where's the what SWAT
I don't
tank?
know. I'm not. I'm speculating, but I'm.
Because here's the thing that I wondered is that I have. Whoa. Okay. So the enemy gangs do have rockets. They did have rockets.
It feels a little bit like you're so overpowered that it's just. That's what I mean. They're gonna have to level the playing field somehow.
Well, I don't know, because that starts. I mean, the game already strains credulity at. Okay, really? Is this as high as I can aim? This is how they're gonna get me, is with petty game mechanics.
Helicopter's like, nope.
Come on now. So yeah. I'm not. Okay. These are not. I'm expecting regular tank controls, and they were giving me some kind of non-tank controls. Buddy!
He is really doing a great job at staying in your blind spot.
I'm running into trees and things. Dude! I'm wondering what the rest of these...
I gotta give the guy props.
I want to know what the rest of these people think. Okay, well, I mean, they're not thinking much anymore. Like that guy, what's he thinking? Hey, boss, you won't believe it. Or actually, you probably will. So,
hey, I'm gonna have to call out today.
I'm gonna be in a bit late.
My legs just got blown off.
This is what I was dealing with this morning.
But you're still coming in, though, right?
Okay. Come here, you. Alright, so... I don't know if this... What? How did you survive that? Not today. Anyways. I had no real reason to play this other than that it's the thing I'm currently playing, and it just seems like fodder. like what most of these people are to me.
Wow.
Safe word. There you go.
What?
I don't know. That's what the street sign says.
Oh, I thought you were maybe revealing something about
Yes, I was going to ask what your safe word.
That's your safe word, fodder.
Oh, I thought you were going to say safe word. It's like, I'm completely unoriginal. I don't know. The thing is, I'm sort of the opinion, and this, when I think about it, it sounds awfully milquetoast of an opinion. But I'm usually of the thought that when a series of some kind jumps the shark, I often think it's best if they sort of tone it back for the next thing, next installment. And the reason I say that is because other series which have sort of followed the same progression, I find can redeem themselves slightly if they just sort of simplify for the, like, I think a classic example is the Ocean's trilogy.
Right.
It's like the second one was really kind of dumb because it was really dumb. And then the third one's good because they scaled it back down to making it, sensible-ish. Obviously, it's still a little bit far-fetched, but...
Well, the problem with one-upping your previous version has always been that you have to become more and more extreme.
Well, yeah. And I suppose that's the other... You got to admit the chutzpah, or admire the chutzpah
Sure.
of that to be like, okay, in the second game when we had literally there, as part of one of the early missions,
All right, what beats us rolling around in a Rolls Royce?
I took over
tank.
I took over an enemy penthouse to use it as a what do you call it, like a home base, and then literally from the helipad I was able to summon a Harrier jet, painted in the same style as this. So I was like, okay, so what am I working towards? I don't feel like anyone's a threat to me when I can just airdrop in a jump jet. Oh, hang on. Oh no. Okay, well, I did have that for what? How long was that? 20 minutes of a rampage? So
you were that guy on the 10 o'clock news that one time that pancaked cop cars for 20 minutes and then... What was his name?
And then did what? I don't know. I'm not familiar with this story.
I can't remember his name.
Hey, pals. Get out.
Okay, now it's just...
What?
GTA.
Well, I mean, this game has always been a GTA sort of...
Yeah,
not a knockoff. It's more of a satire on the GTA concept. Whoop. Oh, hey, assassinations. How about one of those? I don't know if we'll actually do any plot missions. I think I might just bumble around doing whatever the heck I want. Running into the back. That is a sturdy bicycle, my friend. I hit a bike and it totaled my car. What? And that guy freaked out for some reason. You see, he's got a twin. You see those guys? They just snapped. Now, I wonder, can I pull off the same kind of robbery mechanic as I did in the other game? Oh, come on. Excuse you, who's... Madam? I'm not even angry, I'm just perplexed.
Ma'am, I assure you that...
I assure you, this is...
beats fist.
Where did you get that coat, though? It's lovely.
That was a really weird... I'm bleeding out. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, no, I'm bleeding out. That's like a super weird
Darn it, you
glitch.
spilled my ketchup. What is the story here?
Okay, does he have women's underwear on?
I can't tell.
I can tell.
In the other game, you had the option of if you just pulled a gun on a random person, you'd essentially like trigger a mugging. Maybe that was a mechanic I have to... There you go! Yeah. Yeah, there you go. It just drops a couple whatevers. And everyone's cool with it. Oh! Oh, wait, hang on. Is this one of those autograph things? This is one of the random bits of... It's like people will come up to you and be like, hey, we recognize you, because apparently like we've got TV shows and commercials and whatnot now, which is a little... It's... I suppose, in a way, the jumping of the sharkness is integrated into the plot where it's like, okay, the gang themselves have basically sold out. I'm not taking responsibility for this. This wasn't me. Whatever happened here, I had no part in it. It's a bit macabre, actually. Yep, we just cut off this chick's legs, stuck her in concrete as a warning, I guess.
I don't think her legs are okay.
Oh, dear. Oh, no. All right, well, now that I've scarred all the people in the area. Anyways, you got anything to talk about? I don't think the game's going to provide us much other than the, I don't know, we could pontificate on sharks and the jumping thereof.
Wearing a athleisure.
Well, I suppose we could talk about that. Do you have any opinions?
Well, I was talking about the fact that you made your character to be such a...
Well, I didn't make her to wear athleisure. This was just the closest approximation I could get.
That's very athleisure-y.
I know that it is. I'm saying that wasn't my point. This was just the closest I could get to the color scheme. If I could find, like, the proper striped pants, then I'll do that. Here you go. Going around committing crimes on a golf cart. Get back here!
That was a heck of a pot shot.
Oi! Oi! What, have I offended the construction gang? Get out of here! Whoop, whoop. Oh boy, I think I got a flat tire. How do I turn the radio off? I don't want all this radio nonsense. Oh boy. So anyways, this is just wacky nonsense. Let's talk about some wacky nonsense. We'll be meta. Talk about wacky nonsense while committing wacky nonsense. Do you think John Wick 2 jumped the shark as much as I do?
Nah, I don't feel like it did.
I felt like it did a little.
How so?
Because the whole high table thing, it just was like, no, this goes too far.
No, it made perfect sense to me, and it connected
I wouldn't say perfect sense.
It connected, well, okay.
It made as much sense as Ocean's 12 made sense. It's like, yeah, but it's
within
weird.
the context of the story, in that I think they had to figure out some way of connecting all of the...
But I don't think they needed that element.
Continentals.
I don't think that element was all that necessary.
Yeah, it kind of was. I mean, because the whole point is you have a larger network of assassins than just, like, the one in New York.
Sure, but I don't think it needs this bizarre governing body.
Well, okay.
Like, I don't know. And then they had the thing with him being excommunicated at the end, and then every third guy in New York turns out to be an assassin, and I'm just like, okay, this doesn't... John Wick felt like a movie that could have existed in the real world. This feels like it's fully deviated into a fiction.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly true.
And so it lost me a little bit, and I felt like the third film and the fourth film subsequently managed to regain something by sort of simplifying again and going back down to the things that were more interesting, which was basically him as a character. What is this? Ah, street sweeper. That's interesting. This would
do some crimes in a street sweeper.
Better yet, let's do some community service. We're going to balance our karma. After I kick the old man out of the street sweeper. Why is everybody flee? No, get back in. No. Why does everyone flee from me just because I got into a street sweeper? Who are you? Boy, madam. You should have learned. It's a tough cop. There you go. Oh, hi. Don't worry, you can keep yours. I'm good with this one. Well, There you go. I don't know why that was. He's what? I just gave him a good cleaning. I don't even think this would hurt if you ran over someone with it. You just get a good scrubbing.
No, those bristles would tear you to bits.
I don't think they're that hard.
They're made of wire, are they not?
Are they? I didn't think so. I thought, oh, the gosh, this thing can't control. Uh-oh, it's overheating. Alrighty, well. You got something to carry us. What?
Not.
That was an insurance fraud scheme. I didn't even get hit properly. You had topics weeks ago. You were like, hey, I got a lot to talk about.
Well,
so let's talk about
we
it.
had obviously the videos. Did we talk about
What?
Barbie?
No.
Or no?
I don't know what this woman did to deserve this, but the game certainly thought it was something. That's the same woman. She's wearing the same outfit.
Well, now she's doing...
And I just earned respect for that.
Well, I'd respect you too if you took out a poltergeist.
What? What?
Well, I'm just saying that was like the ghost of the previous chick you already...
I don't think the rest of these people know that.
Well, maybe not.
Yeah,
Maybe they just all think you're crazy.
Well, I'm sure they do. All right, I'm gonna go look
See
for
that chick over there just smashing the concrete with her elbow.
I'm gonna go.
Not even anything there. Now she's shooting it.
I'm gonna go and find a clothing store to fix the outfit.
To
fix the outfit you're hung up on.
I'm not hung up on
Whoa,
it.
whoa! I like bikes. Give me the bike. Oi!
He doesn't like you.
He doesn't have to. I like the bike. He didn't factor into that at all.
That looks like a Busa.
Well, it isn't.
It's a Hayabusa boy.
Whoa, okay, this is uncontrollably fast.
Is it though?
It's a little bit. I'm having to be a bit ginger. That's not what I wanted to do. How do I get the map up? Hang on, I gotta get the bike back.
I'm a bit annoyed.
Oh, wait, don't break my stuff.
But just on a more of a brief soapbox.
I have forgotten how to phone. Where's my phone?
I'm gonna whittle slightly on my expounding plank.
Okay, whittle. There's multiple possible meanings for the word whittle.
No.
Yes.
Whittle is with wood.
It's also a slang for peeing.
Well, okay.
So you're saying I'm going to whittle on my expounding plank. I was like, okay. I don't know how to get the map up, so I'm just going to have to find a clothing store after I...
after you got parked for gas.
After I eat it. Thunder Pump. Oh, hey.
The Morning Star are trying to kidnap my sister for one of their whorehouses. You gotta help me, please!
How did you get this number, sir? Okay, well, I guess I was asking for something to do. Whoa. I didn't even hear what that guy actually said, so I'm helping somebody who has my number. I don't know how he got my number.
Whorehouse, it sounded like.
Well, that sounds like the kind of thing we'd be involved in. Good grief, this thing is just... Ah!
I'm saying, dude, this is totally a Busa.
I don't know what that means, so sure.
It's a weird... There's a particular brand of bike, and I think it's called Hayabusa, but...
Whoa, wheelie,
somebody's
what
gonna
the...
comment and be like, that's so stupid, that's not what it's called at all, but
Yeah,
either way,
well,
forgive me,
they're
Busa
right.
Boys is a thing, and it's basically people that ride those, like, longer, they're crotch rockets, but they're the longer version, and they tend to...
Some men are longer than others, you say. Whoa, hi! Didn't I kill you in another life with a tank?
Yeah, now they're all gonna...
They all remember, too.
They're like, she doesn't have her tank. They're gonna light you up, man. It doesn't matter how much you squeeze that Uzi.
I don't... Well, at least I found peace. Barbie, apparently.
So no, brief expounding plank moment.
Briefs.
Yes, I'm gonna talk about briefs.
Do you wear briefs?
No, I wear
Barbie
women's
patent?
underwear like that other guy.
What kind? You brought it up. You got to say it now.
No, I'm getting real frustrated at Xbox to the point that I may just jump ship.
Well, okay.
And the reason being, I mean, obviously, PC is infinitely better as far as options and being adaptable to just various contexts and even games and things like that. I mean, overclocking and just being able to
seriously,
customize
where's
settings
my-
and all that, those bits are very helpful.
I
But
have to look up the.
more than that, Microsoft has continuously committed itself to nothing short of digital
Cell phone
monopoly.
tab. There you go.
In that so I never used to have, I was not one of those people that had big problems with like DLCs. That to me never bothered me, where some people actually took issue with that, where it's like, I bought this game and now they're releasing DLCs and they're not giving it away for free. It's like, no. It's an optional section of the game that you can either
Yeah,
buy
but see, the thing
additionally or
is,
not.
sometimes they're not all that optional. Sometimes it's like, oh, the finale of the game was excluded only for those who pay extra.
Well, see, that I take issue with. But that being said,
Property, I want clothing.
the
Meth lab, hello?
I'm excited about that. In a similar fashion, but I feel like what has happened is essentially discs have become a vehicle purely for the code to allow the game to play. But I'm not exaggerating here. If you happen to have slow internet, or no internet, if that's even worse for you, you cannot play Xbox at all. And I find that utterly absurd. It's like, I have the console.
Well, of course,
I
PC
have
still has
the-
the same issue sometimes.
How so?
Because it depends, because a lot of times... Oh, sorry, officer. Oh, this is just our store. So, again, like I said, we sold out.
Is that...
I don't think I'm going to be able to buy the
Go
clothes I'm
back
looking...
out.
Wait, hang on. Why do I have to buy this?
Go back out.
Why do I have to buy this? It's my store.
Did you make it like that?
Who? The
Go
store or
back
me?
out. The whole guns holding it like Charlie's Angels nonsense.
Officer, I really think you're out of your depth here. See? That was your depth. No, that's from the first game, or the second game. I might even be from the first.
Because that looks awfully jinxy. So.
Well, there you go. Why do I have to buy the store that's literally me? What? So I'm broke. I'm not you. See, how am I broke? Where are these tanks coming from if I'm broke? I think there was something in the last mission about like, they froze our bank account and whatnot. I could just sell, a couple tanks though. Seems like one actually would pretty much be all we need. Well, maybe it's a clever satire against the modern world and how no matter how powerful you are, if you're connected to the banking system, you can still get screwed. Ties in with what you're saying, basically.
Well,
You got to live off grid only. That's just the only way to live.
It's irksome to me because of it's less that it exists within the narrative of playing games and specifically on Xbox box. I've always known that was the case, but the excuses Microsoft gives are so stupid. It's like, for instance, not even playing a game. The Xbox One has Bluetooth, or not Bluetooth, Blu-ray. It's able to play Blu-ray discs. So it's a Blu-ray player also, in addition to being obviously a 4K, video game player. But if you are not hooked up to the internet and it can't, for some reason, connect
thing.
with the mothership and confirm that it is been
Okay, I
either
guess I could
updated
just
or not,
drone strike. Oh, I do get hit by the drone strikes. I mean, that makes sense, but I forgot about the...
you can just drop it directly on right here.
Drop it on my position. Don't worry, I'll survive.
Are you sure about that? All right, got to go drop a train on it.
Are you sure about that? Give me whatever this is.
It's a Porsche. What are you?
Oh, okay. I thought it was one of these modern Corvettes. I don't think it's a
that's a
Porsche
Porsche.
either. It's a Maserati. Hostage diversion. Okay, yeah, sure.
That's got to be a Porsche.
Well, as a matter of fact, I think it's neither because I don't think they would have the rights. Get out of here! I'm hostaging. What? Who's calling in the police or calling in helicopters for the hostage? I'll drive him into the river. Don't make me do it. I will kill a pedestrian.
So anyway, that whole notion has bothered me, and the biggest issue that I have with it is you've built a console that has Blu-ray capabilities, and then because you can't constantly touch base with the company that made you, it goes, I can't play this Blu-ray. It's like, I assure you can.
The hostage escape.
It's just that you won't.
Well, yeah, it's like, well, backwards,
it's like
backwards compatibility was always a lie.
Well, that's another great example. I have a game that literally says on the disc and on the case, plays on Xbox 360 and Xbox One, and it's the New Vegas. I put it in, and it's like, this game doesn't play on this console. I was like, what do you want about? It says so on the disc. And then it doesn't.
'Tis not but filthy lies. I need a way to make money.
I find it ridiculous that Microsoft does this, and I, in fact, then went to forums and said, why is it that... Because here's the thing. I have, like, for instance, Fallout 4. I went to play it, and it downloads from the disc just fine, and then you play it, and that's great.
I don't need this
And
ability.
you can do it from... Initially, the first time you can do it, downloaded from the disc, offline, you're good. You play it, you save things, you turn it off the Xbox, and you go to play it the next time, without fail. You will open the game, and it will say, this particular game needs an update. I'm like, okay, I just bought this freaking game. And then you go, even if, like, I'm not even arguing that the developers can't put something new out there, because they can. But this is why I think the DLC gets a bad rap, is because this is precisely what a DLC is meant for, which is that the developers have said, hey, we have some new stuff we want to add. If you're interested in opting into this, then buy it. It's like, great. That makes sense to me. But when I go, I just want to play the original game that you have created on this disc that's downloaded to my Xbox. But the problem is now, the minute you open it, it says, we must connect to the network to verify that this game is up to date. And then when you connect, it says, you need this new, update that's going to be another 10 gigs. It's like, okay, I suppose.
Wow, this must be an important phone call, man.
He's the head of the construction game. He's got to pay attention.
I don't think that's the case. I think he's going, hey, man, I'm already getting chewed out as it is. You'll have to wait in line.
he's one of those guys just like,
there you go. No, you don't. You didn't pay. They didn't give me cash for that. I'm having to rob. Brings me back to my roots. Oh.
What does he have?
I think he wants me to sign a thing. I don't know how to actually sign autographs. There was a mechanic for it. That's actually hilarious. To try to mug someone, he's like, "Oh, hey, it's you. Here's $50. Will you sign it?"
I'm scared spitless, but I'd love your autograph.
Oi.
Okay, buddy. It would really mean a lot to me if you didn't grab your junk while walking.
Well, it means more than that to him. So, buddy. I'd be doing the world a favor, pal. Just make me do it. Well, I mean, he's old school. There you go. Come on.
That seemed highly patronizing. That was like, oh dear. You have a gun to me now.
Well, he's really selling it now, though. Hey, ma'am. There you go. Proper reaction. How much am I making this way? I haven't even made $1,000 yet. Oi, nah.
Shooting the wrong way there, pal. That's probably going to get you shot dead one day.
Who's you?
That day was today.
Hi, what do you have against me? What the?
A truck. That's what he had against.
Crazy vigilante truck.
A Mack truck.
Vigilante truck drivers.
He called that in on the radio. Yeah, that one there. Run her over.
Don't rock in the Don't walk in the crossfire of me and a cop, pal.
No. Walk. Oh. So anyway, all that to say.
Whoa, hey.
What's going on back there?
What have you stuffed in your pants, pal? That's his fat. That's his.
I think he just walked by those two.
That's
It's
his-
nothing he stuffed in there. Look at what is she wearing? No, not her.
I
The
actually
other
think
chick.
that's his paunch. He's just stuck it into his pants.
Okay, now you look like an ape. What is?
Pal, you don't seem to appreciate what's going on here.
What is she? Seriously, are you a vampire?
Yes, actually,
Okay,
I'm not
now
joking.
you're.
John
You're
Cena.
not
No.
She totally pulled the John Cena
One
thing.
of the gangs in the game, they're not actual vampires from what I gather, but it's based off of because I got basically the Game of the Year edition, which has all the DLC. And so one of the editions was like one of these gangs is based off of a random TV like soap opera that is in the game of like it's basically like a Twilight joke. But now one of the gangs dresses like vampires. So, I mean, I'm not going to question it. It's the strangest thing that's in these games. I'm walking around trying to rob people so I can get money.
So, even that, I go, okay, if you want to keep your games up to date, great. Now, I have terrible internet where we're at, so I don't specifically want to do that. And I have, in fact, opted out of that. But this is the kicker.
Buddy, thank you.
I put a game in. I've downloaded it from the disc. I'm ready to play it. You plug it in the next day, and when you refuse to get online because you're offline and you say no, you don't need to connect to the network. You just need to play this game. You put the disc in.
You cannot play this game.
It literally has to re-download from the disc again. It has to reinstall the game every single time you play it. And I looked this up on Xbox and said. And multiple people were commenting on this and saying, Microsoft, what gives? Why is this doing this?
Are these people each giving me $1? I think each person has given me...
That's like $1 an hour!
I think each person has given me a single dollar.
Freaking $6. That's that same guy.
Wait, hang on, what?
He's a changeling. Go back over there.
Oh, that's a... Oh.
Okay.
You're having quite the day, ain't you, pal? It's about to get a lot worse. What in the... Hey, buddy, I
in the Matrix!
found your long-lost brother. Either that or one of you's a skinwalker. It's probably the one who's not afraid of a gun being pulled on.
He's just like,
Oh, he's realized, oh, crap, I gotta act natural.
please do it. Please shoot me.
You too.
Oh.
Oh, come on. Ain't no skinwalkers in our city.
Apparently there is.
I didn't...
Well,
So are you...
Anyway.
You said this would be a minor soapbox. Is this...
No, I
I
mean,
mean, it has been long, but is it longer?
But seriously, so I comment on this, and Microsoft's response
Was...
like repeatedly is, it's not our fault. It's the developers that make you constantly.
He's shaking his head, going, "Oh, not today."
That constantly make you do updates, and then people were literally going, "No, I'm not talking about doing updates. I'm talking about just literally playing the game." And they go, "We're actually doing you a favor by making sure we save room on your console." It's like, no, you're not. We're telling you no. Now, somebody finally commented and said, it's really absurd that outside of just bending to the forced update model, that people just go, we can't play even the games we've purchased. That's absurd.
I don't disagree.
So I'm a dime short of just opting out of the whole Xbox family and saying, screw it, I'm not doing it anymore.
Well, yeah, but the problem is no other family is much better.
Well, I agree, but we want to hear in the comments about what family's better. Vampires or changelings. Or skinwalkers in this case.
I pick the vampires any day of the week myself, but we've talked about that before, haven't we?
Yes, we have. Anyway, brief soapbox.
It wasn't brief at all.
About the fact that Microsoft is nonsense. Whatever's new about that, I don't know. But
Melee muscles. No thanks. Grenade. Oh, this is just. I don't need this stuff. I need a way to get money. Is what I need. Abilities. I don't need less notoriety. I need. I should. All right. I said I wasn't going to do a quest, but apparently there's nothing better to do.
Here's this quest.
What are we up to?
Here, get on this pole.
I think I'm ready to make
Well, I mean, that was an option in the first game.
Just saying, it's gonna get you money quick. Or maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe that's unfair. Maybe there's a bunch of people that are like, that are what is it called? That are
I can't imagine there's any other motivation than money.
exotic dancers that are like, I don't make that much at all.
Well, then why you what? I'm pretty sure money's the only motivation.
Well, it may be, but it's more out of desperation. I don't think the money's super lucrative in that field.
I'm pretty sure it is. After all, it is the oldest profession.
No.
Yes. It's been around as long as there's been women.
Well, sure.
I mean, I guess you might take exception to it being called a profession, but it's the oldest thing people have done for money. Alright, where's this mission? It's over there. That's a long way. I don't even know what the nature of this mission
there you
is.
go.
Okay.
That was my brief soapbox. Now let's talk about Barbie.
Well, do we have the time? Because your brief soapbox wasn't all that brief.
Well, do you have any thoughts about it, Mr.
I've been angry about this for a long time about stuff being stupid. Oh, yikes! Bit unnecessary that, but so I don't think I have anything new to add. All I'll do is get myself worked up again, and I don't need that right now.
Well, I think I expect...
Corporations suck. How about that?
I mean, I expect there to be some unnecessary control that they exercise, but to literally not be able to play a game at all without re-downloading it every single blessed time. And these downloads take like an hour.
Well,
So if you
because
have-
the internet sucks, but
No, I'm talking about from the disc. Because it's like 15 gigs.
that shouldn't take an hour though. And I think it's still an internet problem because it's still probably having to verify along the way going. Well, okay, so they do have some heavy-duty stuff. Oh, gosh, very heavy-duty.
So my previous theory stands true.
Well, then do I gotta go back and get the tank? I don't want to be always rolling around in a tank. I like the motorcycles, actually. That was what I had the most fun in the first game.
You gotta just
Hello.
ask yourself, what would
Okay. Hi, madam.
What would Oliver Queen do?
Did he ever ride a bike?
I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that.
I don't remember. He didn't have, like, a signature bike. Did he? He didn't have, like, a bat bike. He just... Did he ever...
It was his primary mode of transportation.
No.
Yes.
I don't remember. No, when? They never made a big deal
Like
about it.
4 seasons.
I don't recall them making a deal about him having a bike that was his bat. It was never like a bat cycle type level of
Well,
uniqueness.
I don't think he's quite on the same level as Bruce Wayne when it comes to the amount of money he has.
He was probably close.
Close, maybe,
They were
but
probably on a list together.
I don't know. He didn't have a Lucius. That's his problem.
Well, okay.
Oh, he didn't have a custom bike, but it was a bike nonetheless.
As if he couldn't have afforded it? What are you talking about? I'm saying they never made a big deal. Like, it was not... I don't remember it ever being
What
a
did you
thing.
want him to paint I am the Green Arrow.
Well, I don't recall it being a thing that they made any reference to. I don't know what I'm doing in this building, but it's about to get violent.
You just take your gun out just in case.
Oh, penthouse. Oh, is this the house? Is this
Ma'am, you're here to kiss babies. Oh, I better put this away.
Oh, okay. So this is my crib. Let's go get in the jump jet, just so I can show you what it looks like. Oh, okay. There's something humorous about the disconnect between, like, everybody else is wearing fancy suits and I'm just rocking up in a sweatshirt.
Yeah, I suppose that fits.
Does it? I mean, I
It
guess.
fits the whole Jinx vibe. I mean,
Yeah,
is
but
she
I
wearing a whale tail? I'm sorry. I just got...
don't think I
What are
did
you
that
up?
on purpose.
I don't know that I believe that.
No, she's not. No, is the answer.
No is the answer. Pretending to wear, if that's what you want.
What happened there?
I like where this is going.
Just be ready when I come.
I got no clue what the nature of... See, okay. Did that say... Did I fail already?
All right, I'm coming out now. Keep
Oh,
my
okay.
ass covered
Here you
till I
go.
can find somewhere to
Check
hide.
the target
Did we get some good shit?
from that, I guess.
I'm up for more.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Oh, hey, I'm good at this. So anyways, I don't think you're going to have enough time to talk about Barbie unless you start immediately and speed it up.
Well, I mean, I don't know that I have a ton to say about
Well, you
that.
acted
You
like you
probably
did.
had. Well, you probably have more.
I've
to
given
say
my
about it.
opinion, though.
I was. I don't know what I feel about it because I was.
Do you at least understand what
surprised.
I meant by the cultural litmus test that it is?
Yes, I think I was surprised that as much as it tried to be meaningful in a lot of ways, it was just not because it played both
We are
sides.
okay. We are. Does no one care about the fact that we're just flying straight through these electrical wires? I'm probably gonna end up destroying both cars at this point.
You gonna hit these assholes?
I don't know.
Well,
It-
give your.
It came off like they
Shoot them already!
they played both sides of the argument to the point that it was
Well,
like
I don't think they do
know
that
what
purposefully.
this is.
That's the thing.
Well,
I don't think it's not a deliberate thing.
but then what was it?
I think it was confused. That's the whole point. Is like it is as confused as this generation is. Which is why I think it's
Sure,
an
but
interesting. Again, litmus test is the word I use on purpose because it's like your interpretation of it is going to say a lot more about you than about it.
Damn you,
Sure.
just over the bridge.
I'll set up and be waiting.
I don't know.
It was your idea to talk about it. Do you not actually have anything to say?
I was initially I thought it was hilarious.
Why are we flying so far away?
The juxtaposition of Barbie Land to the obviously
my bungee jumping.
intentionally, they were getting at the whole the real world is such a man's world and everything's about men and
In
doing
what
they
way
wanna
is
do.
this preferable to using a rocket launcher?
And by the way, how am I shooting so accurately off of a building?
Well, I'm tethered to something.
Well, but that doesn't give you a steady shot, certainly.
Don't ask me nothing. I'm not an international gangster.
I don't know. It
Okay, see, this is a situation where a rocket launcher would be mighty handy. Instead of having to pick these guys off one at a time.
that's what they want.
I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts, diddly 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 dum.
Um,
Whoop!
yep.
Whoops. Protectee died. Is that a word? I'm not sure that's a word.
All right, I'm coming out now.
Your summation is just
No,
top
so
notch.
Some good shit?
that juxtaposition was interesting initially, where he was like finding out that he was treated with far more dignity, I suppose, in the real world
Then in the feminist
than
utopia.
the feminist utopia. However, what's interesting is
Damn, these guys don't give up.
my initial response was obviously I don't think it's completely accurate that there's such
You dropping them or what?
a
What?
misogynistic kind of culture in our
There isn't,
real
that's
world
the point.
society. Well, I mean, their point was
That's the point they attempted
their
to
point
make.
was the argument that there was.
Yeah, but they failed to
I'm
make
like-
that point.
Did they though?
Yeah.
How so?
Because he brings the real world, quote unquote, back to Barbie Land, and everybody's happier. The Barbies have to be brainwashed out of it rather than into it.
Let these assholes get too close.
Like, as much as they want to paint it as like, the Kens brainwash the Barbies, it's like, no, the only brainwashing is happening at the end when they're attempting to be like, no, you have to accept the feminist dogma. That's the only way you'll be liberated. Trust us.
Well, I think the message at the end was supposed to be you're just supposed to not be either or. You're supposed to be yourself. And it was like,
Yeah, it's a weak
the-
sauce message because
It
the
was.
film doesn't know what it's saying.
right, but I think the thing I took issue with the most is that Ken seemed completely
Another roadblock.
What?
directionless after that, and I'm like, no.
Well, basically because he fails. Like,
Well, he fails at what?
he fails at establishing a sensible order.
I'll set up and be waiting.
Well, it's not
Essentially,
about
he attempts
order.
to
What it is,
he
it's
attempts
about
to usurp
identity. It is because he's
sure,
trying to
there's an
figure out what
element
his
of that.
purpose is. It's not even.
Well, but I mean, it ends
maybe
with him basically
identities.
saying he is what he is enough, which is again feels kind of weak sauce because it is. But I mean, as much as this is reading way into it, fair enough. But the way, and again, I will refer to the Lotus Eaters' interpretation, just because they have, I feel, said it in a way that's, you know, because essentially it's not, it is in some ways a semi kind of, it has, if you take the, I'm doing much better this time, if you take the reading that Ken is secretly supposed to be the hero, then it becomes a very sort of Greek tragedy of a man attempting to rise above the station the world has for him and then failing. So
Yeah, but then he doesn't. That's it.
well, yes, that's what failing means. That's also what Greek tragedies tend
Well,
to, how
yeah.
they tend to end. Okay, well, you'd survive a lot longer if you didn't stand in the street, bucko! You deserve that. So, I'm not saying that it's got a happy ending. That's the point. But the point is, if it doesn't need to make his point clearly enough, which is he's the one for whom you should have sympathy. Or at least he's the one certainly people seem to have had the most sympathy.
You know what else?
As evidenced by the fact that he's been the one thing that's become more of a meme than any of the other characters.
That I think it was.
This is the word. I want the rocket launcher back.
I thought it was telling that even in their utopia,
Ooh, double kill there.
that Barbies among themselves were very like catty with one another and like super. But then what's hilarious is in the Ken like utopia or whatever,
Everyone's
even
happy.
with the help of the Barbies trying to get them to fight, their fight lasts all of like 2 seconds, and then they're like, "Why are we doing this?"
Exactly. Hey, I don't know why I won that time because there
it
were
was
still
a
plenty of
little bit
enemies.
like,
But
like the men were fairly quickly like, "We don't really want to fight with each other. We have better uses of our time than this."
exactly.
Because so here's the thing. Fundamentally,
Whoa, hey.
one thing I'm gonna get a little bit deep here in a manner
Deeper
that
than my
may-
Greek tragedy analysis of a Barbie film.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're just wow.
I mean, if you can get deeper than that for something so seemingly petty. Hey, new missions. Trafficking.
I
Oh
think
boy. Trafficking what?
This is gonna sound real misogynistic of me. I'm aware of how this is going to sound.
Well, just say it. Own
We
it.
have a PR department for that.
I am
It
a dirtbag.
highlights that
So you're
when
saying
push
it
comes
has
to
be-
shove, even though men have this, especially in the real world culture, there's this kind of, oh, you have to be the, alpha male and all these other things that our society mostly tries to push.
I don't think it's our society. I think it's actually a coping mechanism.
Well, that's a fair argument. But the reality is, I think Ken is representative of really what is at the core of most men's motivation, which is that we simply want to have people actually see us for who we are and be taken seriously about that. It's like all we want is respect, not in a manner that says you must do what I say, but in a manner that says
be nice
I
too.
see you and don't need to treat you like somehow you're less than.
Sure.
And the fact that the movie states that, like, Ken honestly is probably the most vulnerable person in the movie.
Yeah.
As far as actually being able to emote and clearly communicate what he's wanting and feeling out of life. And so what it highlights to me is although
I have
people
no clue
act
what
like
I'm doing here.
people
hi.
act like men are so much more like, we're either it's an oversimplification where they're like, men just want power and authority, and it's like, no, that's not what we want at all. That's really not that may be a temporary band-aid on something that we're actually searching for, which is purpose or, meaning in life. But the converse is not specifically true. With the Barbies, it's a little bit like...
No, they're the ones who genuinely just want power and authority.
Right, it's like, what do you...
Literally, the film ends
It's like,
with...
what do you actually want? I want to be independent. Okay, go do that.
And
Well,
then,
I gotta
let's see
have you guys...
You can't be independent.
Yeah, it's like...
That's the thing. It's literally like, at the end of the film, they basically... The mask totally falls off. Because literally, they're like, okay, fine. Our attempt at gaining some representation failed. Could we at least have a little bit, though? And they're like, no. Literally, they ask, like, well, okay, yeah, we can't, necessarily be on the Supreme Court, but could we have, like, some representation? And they're like, we'll have to think about that. So it's genuinely a total mask off. Like, yeah, feminism's not about men at all.
But see...
It's not about equality. It's just about female empowerment.
Wasn't it funny, though, to you that, like, in the real world, for instance...
What are you...
They tried to act like, oh, this represents equality, but they treated like her husband like a complete tool.
Whose husband?
What's her name? Or the maid, like the mom or whatever.
I don't think, did she even have a husband?
Yeah, it was like at the end, like, and he was a boob. That's the point. They acted like.
Well, that's what their perception.
Well,
of men
that's
is.
their whole point. Is like at one point he tries to speak Spanish and like help do whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's like this genuine. Again, here's a guy who's just doing his best to try to, be vulnerable and represent himself in a manner
connect
that's
with his wife's culture.
right.
And
It's
whatnot,
like,
and it's just
hello,
like,
can I get respect for that? No. It's like, okay, screw you then. Like we wonder why men get angry in our generation, but it's like, no, this is the reason. It's because you either want to respect us when we demand it by saying, okay, we have now stepped into a position where you will absolutely respect us whether or not you want to, or we try to be vulnerable in a place where it's like, hey, I would surely like to be heard.
Well, it really is. Honestly, it's just
it's a commentary on.
Well, it's a commentary on feminism. That's the thing, is that even
it's not
if you
just
take,
feminism,
even
though.
if you
It's-
took its feminist messaging seriously, it's not very flattering.
No, exactly.
It's just like, oh, women aren't getting their way. How do we get our way? Well, we cheat on our boyfriends and make them fight amongst each other. It's like we make them think we care about their opinions, and then we just lie to their faces. So it's like, okay, so is this
What was that ballerina move?
Is this supposed to be like, the code of ethics we're promoting here? Is if you can't get what you want, just lie and steal and deceive people.
Well, it's also true of the fact that the Barbies are arguing among themselves about this particular context of what feminism means, all this kind of thing. Because that's even something that there's some female comedian that talks about that, where it's like, old feminism was like this, and then it was like, and then new feminists come along and go, we just hate men and we want all men to do whatever, and or to be subservient or just go and die. We don't need them at all. And then the comedian's like, and then the old feminists are like, no, that's not what we want. And then the new feminists are like, no, that is what we want. It's like even they can't agree among themselves.
Whoa, hello.
Vampire
nuns.
skanks.
I mean, I don't think I'm one to throw stones right now, but
Okay, your athleisure outfit is hardly the same thing as their negligee nonsense.
I don't think that's what that is. It's they're just going to a convention.
Okay.
That's a pose.
But
Have I finally won this dumb mission? Deal's done. 1 of 2. How long are you taking, pal? Okay, so we're just going to walk through the streets like this, apparently. You know what? I think I'm starting to see why we've lost our station.
I don't know. I think maybe I'm reading too much into it.
I wouldn't say that.
The idea
Not
of
any more than anybody else is, at least.
men's desires are either oversimplified and made a caricature of in order to be made fun of,
Or seen as evil.
Or seen as evil. And it's like, actually, Ken had the most non-intrusive goal and dream of all of them. He just wanted to be able to be himself and have people around him actually see him for what he was. It's like, that's pretty much what we want. How about that? How about people around us actually just give a crap and treat us like human beings?
What?
How about we all do that? Better yet. And I think that what was funny was that was kind of what they arrived at a little bit at the almost end of the movie, and then it was like, yeah, but Barbie, what do you want even more than that?
Well, that's the other thing that's funny about it is like, yay, we finally restored the feminist utopia, but I don't want it anymore. You know, glad we repressed the slave rebellion, but I'm leaving to the real world. So,
Next time, I'm
yeah, I mean, it's a confused film that I think is more of a... I'm not sure. Yeah,
It's a
litmus test.
it's a glaring example of why.
Because that's the thing. If you take
why
it at
this
its
generation is so
yeah,
confused.
if you take it on face value, it's highly unflattering to feminism or whatever they're attempting to promote. And I recognize that you can't take the fully, I'm not sure what you'd call it, the subversive interpretation, because it falls apart a little bit because there isn't enough. There is too much of the film that tries to be feminist to make it truly like a subversive. Secretly, it was actually intended as a satire the whole time. I don't think that's the case.
gotta watch for those.
I think genuinely it's just confused because I think it promotes what its version of feminism I think is earnest, where it's trying to say, yes, this is positive, and it just comes across as really unflattering.
Yeah.
Because that's the stage of society we live in, where the people who have truly bought in don't realize how... Because essentially, the reaction from most, I guess, not to be dismissive, but most normies, people who aren't involved in sort of socio-political commentary, was essentially that it's just kind of unflattering to men and women.
Yeah.
Because if this is the feminist utopia, it's not
Does the best you can.
particularly flattering. It makes women out to certainly seem a lot more egotistical than they would normally be portrayed as. But if it's also not obviously a patriarchal subversive plot either.
So you like to break
So
shit?
it doesn't make anyone look good.
Well, and I think the fact that in the real world, men
It's no way to fight a lady.
are given this kind of, they're what they were trying to get at was this is a patriarchal, like, oh, there's no way to break into the patriarchy because it's all this whatever, and I just go, okay. Initially, that actually put me off to it, the movie, but then as you're watching, you're going, and yet within that real world culture, you have people creating companies that literally are trying to encourage women to just be more than, to not identify themselves purely as one thing, but to be able to do whatever, multiple other things as well. That was the whole point of Barbie. So it's like,
Well, yeah,
Okay,
again,
so-
the end of the film basically undoes its own messaging.
well, exactly.
If you
Like,
even
my
if you
fav-
took it on its face, the end kind of doesn't make much sense.
well, my favorite notion of
How does this not... I'm aiming right
the
at you.
movie, or my favorite, I suppose, like just sequence in the movie
That's stupid.
is where she's having all these emotions and she's sitting at the bus stop and she sees the elderly lady, and she's like, "Oh, you're so beautiful," or whatever, in the very trite way that they say it to each other. And the lady's response is, "I know it," and that to me was indicative of the old generation. It landed and did what it was supposed to do, which was that it communicated. You don't have, essentially, you have nothing to prove. You can just do you. Which, in the end of the movie, for the Kens, was kind of what it was supposed to be.
Well, yeah, except you can't actually, have
Except
any...
that you can't because...
Except we won't let you.
Well, no.
Provided
not
it's
that-
within the established
it's either
framework.
You're in the Barbie land side of things. No, we won't let you. Or in the real world side of things, you'll just be villainized for it. And it's like, okay. So either way, we're not getting what we want, which is just to have somebody actually be vulnerable with us. Correct? Okay. Just to make sure that's clear. It's like, as much as I know Ken, the facade when they first came back was that Ken was like, I've made this, thing, and now all the men are in charge. It's like, core-wise, that wasn't even their motivation. It was just, I want to be able to be...
But who do you think you're dealing with, pal? You're not going to win over any... I'll kidnap the cop. Don't make me kill him. Pal, I've run over 5 cops today.
Kill him. He's not our man. I don't know. It was not...
So essentially, you've come around. You're on the Ken side of things.
I'm on the side of things that says...
Oh, come on. What? I used to kill the sniper.
Let's all pull our heads collectively out our own rear ends and take a look around at the people around us. It's...
Okay, Pierce, what part of town are we selling in first?
I think we have to come back to a place of seeing people as individuals and having them take individual responsibility, because the more we decide that, this particular culture is what made me do this, or my upbringing in this made me do this, it's like, yeah, that has influence, but it certainly doesn't have control. And when you opt out of personal responsibility by saying, there's no way I can do anything different because...
Since because pickles.
No, since because... What's the whole apologizing for your privilege, your male privilege? It's like... That's my point. That's my point.
The answer.
Exactly.
It's just no.
Well, of course, but that's my point exactly. It's like, no, because this has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the fact that I'm taking responsibility for the things I do, and I will either apologize for them if I feel necessary, or I will not apologize for them because I didn't do it. It's like, I'm not going to take responsibility for something that's not mine to pick up. And I think that that's across the board. We just need to see people as individuals, because some people are
Thank
jerks.
you for you've brought it down to the trite level again.
No, I'm just... It
Feels a little trite.
No, my point is not, see the individual and let them be like themselves. What I'm saying is, our country specifically was built around the idea of, was built around the idea of independence, individuality, this idea that you yourself could pull yourself up by your own bootstraps and make something out that you didn't have before. It's like, okay, let's get back to that and say, anything that you have or don't have is purely your responsibility and obligation.
I'll take you one further. It's all your fault.
Yes. No, true.
Everything in life is your fault.
And
of course, the women don't want to hear that, but the men already know it. So
right. And that's the thing that's
you want equality, boot up.
That's exactly my point. Well, have you seen those videos? Okay, now I'm derailing slightly, but it's still in the same vein.
Are we going to get more misogynistic yet?
No.
Oh, have we reached the cap, in your opinion?
It's the reality is the responsibility of that whole notion of you are purely responsible for your own life. Again, it is all your fault for both the good and the bad. Is that there's not...
Okay, Pierce, what part of town are we selling in first?
There's not a...
How do you know which hoods are theirs?
You can't... There's no one to blame but yourself.
All right, let's
Well, or the universe, and that just leads to a real
stuff are we selling?
dark spiral.
Well, that's not useful.
No, I mean, I'm saying, but that's generally the only other alternative, which is what most people have already done, is, well, it's just life itself sucks. It's like, I mean, I guess you could take that approach if you want, but it certainly won't fix anything. And it's not going to make you any happier.
Whereas self-responsibility just says, hey, if I don't like something about my position or my particular dynamic among the broader social economic class or what have you, then do something about it. And that sounds like I mean it's an oversimplification certainly, but don't these even within the feminist movement, it's like if you're going to make the case that the patriarchy has made things impossible, which first of all I already disagree with. However, if you're going to make that case, there are numerous people that are women in history that have not allowed that to stop them from doing what they wanted to do. Exceptional people are going to find a way to be the people they want to be. And it's like, so either
Yes,
do
but
it.
I'm not exceptional, and I still want to be special.
Well, but that's the problem.
It is the problem.
That's not taking responsibility and just saying, I collectively want to bring this about simply because
I don't think you can say I collectively want anything.
No, my point is,
The royal I.
it is. It's a little bit like, I want, because I'm a woman, to have these things. It's like, you're talking about male privilege. You're asking for the same thing in the reverse.
Well, basically, that
It's
is
like,
their.
ouch, that's you.
That is the argument. Is basically that's how they perceive. I don't know where that comes from, but that's the argument. Is that's how the male experience is perceived? Is it's like, oh, things just get given. I'm like, I assure you, it doesn't work that way.
And in fact, when you don't pull yourself up by your own,
It's like, how often have you had to pay for a drink at a bar? Because I assure you, every man has always paid for his own drink at every bar ever. No man has ever gotten a free drink.
Okay, so back to what I was going to take it a step further.
What?
There's
We haven't gone a step further yet.
Videos online that talk about when men don't hold. It's the
Okay,
idea
could we
that
maybe move faster than this?
it's like, okay, if you guys really want to talk about equality, we're going to give you equality. So specifically within sports, it's like when men don't hold back, when women are pitted against men. And there were a
See
few
the video
that
of
were
the
like,
of the. There's a guy never done any martial arts training in his life. Chick who's been doing karate for like 10 years.
right.
And it's just like, it's a little bit embarrassing, actually.
Well, but that's
Yay!
there's a natural.
I don't know what we trafficked.
Because I guarantee you put that guy up against another guy who's done it for 10 years,
Yeah.
and he would lose miserably. But simply because of the fact that there's a difference in strength, even aggression level. I mean, it's like you got to take those things into account. You're not. I don't know. It's just.
Whoa, this is quite a.
So I mean, there was one that was I think it was either wrestling or something of that nature, but it was a girl versus a guy, and the guy was just like cared zero craps about whether or not it was a girl versus a guy. He was like, I'm gonna do me and just get this done. And so it was intense, and it was like, why are we doing this? It begins to make it obvious that the brutality of expecting that women and men are going to be equal, because it's like on a mental. I'll make the case here. I'll offset my misogyny. I'll offset my perceived misogyny right now by saying this. I will make the case that the converse would actually also be true. If you put a man in the context of something a woman could easily shoulder, it would be similar. Mentally, if I am put into a context
Yeah, it wouldn't look.
on a child rearing level,
Yeah,
that my
it wouldn't
wife could
appear
handle-
as immediately on the outside.
right.
That's the difference.
But it's like, but here's the thing, and I'll admit this because I don't have a problem being vulnerable. I'll be Ken for a moment. Is if I'm put in a context where on a mental load, like my wife could handle it no problem to be able to handle, like, okay, you're balancing, dealing with all the things that are going on at home as far as, cooking and dealing with some of the,
How
helping.
misogynist of you to think that's all women do.
No, but I'm saying, but then also dealing with the kids on top of that, and she also then is going to her master's degree for psychology. It's like all those things she's balancing all at the same time.
There we go.
Mentally, because of the fact that the way that they process and they're designed is different in the way that they interact with kids, that overloads me very quickly when it comes to trying to deal with kids and do something else. Even if it was something like my own work and then having to deal with my 5 kids at my own job or in my own space, that would be like, okay, this is a lot. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible. Shout out to all the single dads that manage it out there, but it's it's going to be taxing, and it's going to eventually take a toll in the same way that no, that doesn't.
I've been to this store before, so I don't think the stores have any different clothes. I think I'm gonna have to find a different brand of store, but that's an odd one.
No, the duster doesn't work. Okay, go back up.
Why?
That looks no, not that. That is like a very Harley Quinn vibe.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm going
No,
for
I agree.
exactly.
Okay, now
Really?
she's just
This had to be two things?
just school marm. All I'm saying is, I give credence to the fact that, and I've said this, and my wife and I have said this together multiple times. It's not about sameness. And this is what the feminist movement misses. It's not about sameness. It's about equal contributions and respect for the contributions that we make. So it's like we're not tit for tatting here. We're not saying this is how much I give and you have to give this much because it has to be equal. It's like, no, it's equality in that you give this and I respect the fact that you provide that and that you're a part of this, and I give this and you respect the fact that I give that and that we complement each other. It's a complementarian approach that says we need both. We can't only have either or, and if we do, something's incomplete. There was actually there's a video of, I can't remember the gal that is doing an interview that basically is talking about the idea that with single moms, can they manage and can they do it? Sure. And in the same way single dads can do it and manage, is it the perfect design, or is it the way that that on even a psychological level is the most healthy? No, of course not, because we're not meant to do that. There's supposed to be a given a support structure that is both and so sorry if you don't like that, but tough. The data doesn't agree with you, and in fact doesn't care what your opinions are. So there. Anyway.
Oh, now that we've alienated any female audience that probably didn't exist to begin with.
Well, I'm sorry, I disagree. I mean,
Okay.
how could... Yeah, never mind.
What?
I don't... I think it's shortchanging.
How many do you think it is? There's 23. We got of the 23. How many do you think there are?
That was an incredible ride, whatever that was just... No, I'm suggesting that I don't think it's fair to assume that all women aren't going to pick up what we're laying down.
No, I'm not saying, okay. I was making a joke mainly about how I don't think there's that large of a following.
Well, maybe that's the truth.
So I don't think they're even going to hear the message, much less.
Appreciate it.
Anyways, whoa.
Well, that's what happens when when garbage men try to turn randomly at intersections. They run over.
I thought you were going to try to say something a little bit more profound.
No, I was.
That's what happens when, feminists try to have their way.
No,
The garbage men say
garbage
no.
men attack random motorcyclists.
Oh, bus drivers too. Hello. What was this contextual prompt?
She was trying to.
What? I'll tell you,
sorry.
this city doesn't need me to cause chaos. I might actually be bringing some order around here. What's this do?
Anyway.
Start helicopter assault. Oh, okay, I'm getting a phone call first.
Yo, we heard what Zemos is doing with the unionizing of the girls, and we want in. But you gotta take
Something
out
about a
the
union. I don't know what's going on.
Anyway.
We'll do that later. Well,
Now that is out of the way and everybody disagrees with us in some form or fashion, then I don't know.
there's your closer. Now that everybody disagrees with us, we can drop the pretense.